Hi everyone, I am Prachi Sharma. My teammate Nand Gopal and I are going to walk you through a business case that's not just bold but honestly pretty inspiring. It's about Tata Motors, an Indian company mostly known for affordable vehicles, acquiring two global luxury brands, Jaguar and Land Rover. And they did this at the height of 2008 global financial crisis. So today we will break down how Tata not only pulled it off but turned this risky move into a massive success using clear strategic thinking, minimal interference, and some solid consulting frameworks. So why this case is so important? Well, for one, this is one of the biggest cross-border acquisitions ever done by an Indian firm. But more importantly, it shows how a company from an emerging market like India can successfully acquire, manage, and grow global legacy brands. From a consulting lens, this case touches on M&A strategy, post-merger and integration, and turnaround planning, basically a full package of what we study in business consulting. Tata Motors, before 2008, was well known in India mainly for trucks and economy cars. Global presence very limited. Luxury segment zero. On the other hand, Jaguar and Land Rover were legendary names, but under Ford's ownership. They were struggling badly. Old product lines, failing sales, low innovation, and serious losses. So why did Tata jump in? Because there was a strategic fit. Tata had capital and long-term vision. JLR had brand value but needed freedom, funds, and fresh approach. So in March 2008, Tata Motors acquired JLR from Ford for $2.3 billion, all cash. They got the brands, the two UK plants, all R&D assets, the global distribution network, and about 16,000 employees. But here's the twist. This happened right as the global economy was crashing. Everyone was asking, why would Tata take such a huge risk, especially when even luxury car sales were crashing? Consulting wise, it was a contrarian move, the kind that only works if your long-term vision is clear. And yes, the first few years weren't easy. Sales were down, losses were piling up, and Tata itself had to post a loss for the first time in 7 years. There were major operational challenges too, like integrating two different cultures, Tata's Indian value system and JLR's British heritage. Plus, Tata had never handled a luxury brand before, and the UK plants were expensive to run. From a consulting perspective, this was a classic post-merger integration challenge, balancing cultural fit, financial reconstructing, and operational turnaround, all at once. So how did Tata respond? This is where it gets interesting. They did something not many companies do. They stepped back. They gave JLR full operational autonomy. They let the local leadership take decisions independently. No micromanagement, just support. At the same time, they invested heavily in R&D. JLR started launching blockbuster models like the Range Rover Evoque and Jaguar F9, cars that were modern, stylish, and completely turned the brand image around. They also expanded to newer markets like China, reducing dependency on Europe and the US.
Thank you so much, Prachi, for taking through the initial part of the case study, and I will take it over from here. So, first, we are going to look at the framework by which the Tatas turnarounded the JLRs into a success story. So, let's look at Ansoff matrix. What is Ansoff matrix? Ansoff matrix has four quadrants, and from which we are going to look at the two specific quadrants in which Tatas focused very much to turn around JLR. Let us look at the first one, which is the product development. After they took over JLR, various models were developed keeping in mind the upcoming market segments and the current market demand. So let's look at the two examples. The first one, we can look at the Range Rover Evoque. The second one, we can look at the Discovery Sport. Both these models were very successful and turned around the JLR into a profit story. Let us look at the profit story in the going forward in the video. So let us look at the market development. In the market development, various new markets were explored which were not earlier present, like the Middle East, India, and China. It is not that JLR was not present there, JLR was present there, but it was not that much penetrated into these markets. But Tata's ensured that they take the existing market size and they further penetrated into the markets to successfully capture these markets in the luxury segment, which was JLR's core segment. So, in conclusion, we can say that Ansoff matrix is just it is not a theory. It is a framework which can be very much applied to real world scenarios by which the company can strategize that which product to launch and which markets to go about to successfully turn around a brand and make it a success story. Let us move on to the next section. Any consulting framework which when applied has to show results, otherwise it is of no use because numbers should speak for that framework. So if we look at the 2013 year, in that year Tata Motors entire profit, from that profit 90% of the profit came alone from the JLR. That is a very huge number, which was because of the autonomy in the decision making which was given to the JLR, continuous improvement in R&D investment, and also some other strategic decisions that the Tata Motors took. By this, the Tata Motors brand perception was not just an economical brand which was catering to developing markets, but it was also positioned as a luxury brand, and that is a very strategic repositioning of the entire brand as a not as an economical but as a very luxurious brand which can cater to developed markets as well as the developing markets by launching of the other models. Let's look at from the value creation perspective. So here's how Tata's created values for themselves from the acquisition. First one, which is branding. So Tata Motors branding was elevated to a luxury segment, which was very good for them. Second one is operations. So the UK plant's efficiency was increased by upgrading the plant from existing old infrastructure to a new infrastructure. Third one was the R&D. So as we know, Tata Motors use the JLR's platform for themselves as well, by which they can increase the efficiency of their vehicles as well. So it was a win-win situation for them. And last one was very important, which was the balance sheet. Because of JLR being most profitable arm, the overall balance sheet of Tata was very much profitable. So by this, we can come to the conclusion that the Porter's value chain principles was also included in this case study, by which Tata's increased their value creation by using all the sectors, not only in operations and marketing, but also in tech and HR. They focus so that the synergy should be there across all the domains of the company, by which value creation is consistent. Any company can't go forward without any hurdles. This is very natural in the process of a growth of a company. So coming 2019, JLR also faced some hurdles because of Brexit and other global challenges. So what are the things which they did to mitigate these things so that they can keep growing continuously? First one, electrification. Jaguar planned to go fully electric by 2025. This was one of the major reasons by which they can compete through the EV market companies which were coming into the UK and in India and all the other emerging markets globally and very aggressively. For example, BYD from China. Second one was cost optimization and digitization, using tech as much as possible to automate its cars, by which the user can have a very good experience because of high integration of technology like self-driving cars and other future technologies. The third one was geographic focus shift. Geographic focus shift means that they started to more focus on the Asia Pacific regions and the emerging economies, by which they can target the new market. As we developed in the Ansoff matrix, they completely focused on that so that they can have a clear cut future outlook. That brings me to the three things which they are focusing currently and they have focused every time after the 2019 fiasco. First one is future focused, second one is adaptability, and third one is long term strategy. Now coming on to the conclusion of the case study, acquisition of JLR was not just an acquisition, it was bold decision making, respecting cultural integrity of the organization and making the organization autonomous in decision making. Tata did not just acquire JLR, it believed in it, and that is the reason it turned out to be a huge success story for Tata Motors and JLR as well. It shows how a local emerging giant like Tata Motors, which has majority of its market in India, can acquire a global brand as large as JLR, which is in the luxury segment, and turn it into a huge success. And the same it's going to do with another manufacturer of automobiles which is there in another country in Europe, and maybe someday we will look at the case study as well. So thank you for listening. Thank you for having patience, people. Bye.